Hello, how are you? This is Laurent Kuntz. Today I wanted to focus on the arrest of T.I.'s son, the rapper T.I.'s son, named Clifford. His real name is Clifford King Harris Jr. I guess he goes by the name King. And he was arrested this week. And I have an article here. It says, according to jail records, there was a warrant out for King's arrest in Pickens County for failure to appear in court. They say that in August of 2022, he was charged with speeding, knowingly driving a motor vehicle on a suspended license, and driving under the influence of drugs. And then in September 2024, there was an arraignment notice returned and a bench warrant issued. So I guess he didn't follow through and come to court due to the charges that he had gotten in 2022. And so this week, this separate article from WSB-TV says that the 19-year-old son of Atlanta rapper and actor T.I. was arrested earlier this week in Dunwoody. Investigators said King Harris pulled out in front of a Dunwoody police officer as they were coming out of a gas station, nearly hitting the officer's cruiser. The officer then turned on their lights, turned the car around, and pulled over the BMW that Harris was driving. According to the incident, when the officer approached the car, they could smell the odor of marijuana coming from it. As the officer spoke to Harris, they noticed he had a gun on his hip, so the officer asked him to put his hands on the steering wheel. As the officer was checking out Harris's information, they learned that he was wanted in Pickens County for failure to appear. I informed Mr. Harris that I would need to speak to him outside and opened the driver's side door. Mr. Harris was cooperative, and I removed the firearm from his hip with no issue. I then had Mr. Harris step out of the vehicle, and I detained him by placing handcuffs on him. I escorted Mr. Harris to my patrol vehicle, conducted a pat-down, and placed him into the rear of my vehicle, the arresting officer said in an incident report. Now, there were two other gentlemen with him. Two other people were also in the car. The officer had them both get out, and the officer found two little baggies with marijuana inside. Harris was arrested and detained and taken to DeKalb County Jail. Now, the reason why I want to bring this up is because T.I. is a famous Grammy Award-winning rapper. He is a producer. He is a real estate developer. He is a philanthropist. He does a lot of good work. He's here in Atlanta. He's helped a lot of people. And, he had his run-ins with the law when he was younger, but he put that all behind him, and now he's a force for good in the community and I guess in the world.
Hello, sir. Merry Christmas. Nice to meet you. Thank you. Come on.
Two, three. I'm gonna do one more. 1, 2, 3. Thank you.
To be honest with you, it's a different level of fulfillment. I'm just happy to be able to do something for the people who need it the most.
And you would think that his son would try to emulate him, but it seems like his son is rebelling. Now, this is something that a lot of parents go through, and T.I. is going through it. 2 years ago, he made a statement about his son, and I'm going to play that now because this is the situation that a lot of parents find themselves in.
Stop hitting me and getting in my comments, telling me what to tell King, okay? I know my son. Think I ain't spoke to my son? Think I ain't told my son, his mama, and his grandmamas? His ass going to prison. If you got to keep this up, his ass going to prison. Ain't no way around it. Ain't nothing I'm gonna be able to do about it. Can't nobody stop it but him. You know what I mean? I've already had the conversation. I've already made my peace with it. Because I know that energy. I was that energy. I know exactly how it's going to turn out. I trust in God to deal with it the way that he see fit. You know what I mean? It ain't really shit else. He done got all the whippings, he done got the punny, he done did it, he done, did everything as a child you could do to him. So now he gonna have to go through it. He gonna have to go through it and get through it. And ain't nothing me and mama or nobody else gonna be able to say about it, man. But I'ma love him all the way through whatever it is he going through.
All right. Now, T.I. appears from all accounts to be a hands-on parent, like him and his wife. I think her name is Tiny. They had a reality show that from all accounts was a positive show. They have a beautiful home. They got a beautiful family. And he recognizes that his son is going through something. And for whatever reason, he's trying to, I guess, portray this role of being a tough guy. And, he's just not listening to his dad. And his father has come to terms with it, as a lot of parents do. And, as a correction officer, I get the opportunity to meet parents of people who have, found themselves in jail. And a lot of times they have good parents. A lot of times they have good parents that is pulling for them, trying to get them on the straight and narrow. But for whatever reason, their kid does not want to comply, does not want to go along with them. They have something that they are trying to prove or trying to get into. And it usually ends up with them in jail. And T.I. is resigned to the fact that that might be what his son has to experience in order for him to turn his life around. But it's good to see that, he does have a support system, and he does have a father that is pulling for him, and a mother. A lot of young men that I have come in contact with during my career, a lot of them are being raised by mothers, and the mothers are suffering and pulling for their kids and concerned about their kids, but for whatever reason, their son doesn't want to comply, doesn't want to take their advice and listen. And they're not coming from a place like his son. His son is, had a silver spoon in his mouth, so to speak, and was raised in a nice home, and they have money, they have means, he's driving a BMW at 19, so the reason why he's doing what he's doing, I think it has something to do with the culture. I think he wants to get into hip hop. He's a rapper too, and I guess he feels like he has to go through this to have some sort of credibility, which is misguided. People like King that don't have to go to jail and have other options don't do well in jail. It's very stressful for anybody, but for somebody who has grown up with a silver spoon in their mouth, to go to prison is devastating. Just to spend time in prison, it takes a toll on them. The people who are most comfortable in jail are people who have been in the system for a long time. Like a lot of young men have come through the system, the juvenile system, like Mike Tyson was coming through.
He was adjudicated a juvenile delinquent, and that means that a person would have committed a felony had they been 16 years old or older. He was initially placed downstate, and because of acting out, he was sent to Tryon. He acted out severely at Tryon initially and then calmed down after meeting Bobby Stewart.
He was in a juvenile facility when he was 12 years old, and he discovered boxing in the facility. So those types of kids, now, if nobody saves Mike Tyson would have been a career criminal coming back and forth to jail and thriving in jail. He would have been very comfortable because he came through the system from different levels, and now he's in the adult system, and, this is just his life. Those are the type of people that come through the system that I've dealt with, and, it's hard to change their trajectory, but somebody like King, who has a father and a mother that care about them, should not try to, no one should try to test the system and see if, they can make it or manage, because it's very dangerous. hopefully he'll get himself together. Those of you who are listening to this, you and that may not have a father like T.I., you may not be wealthy, you may be being raised by a single mom, listen to your mom. I was fortunate enough to have a dad. He died when I was a teenager, but I had a dad, for the years up until he passed away. And I feel like now I'm very fortunate because I know a lot of kids don't have a dad, but I used to work with an officer that grew up raised by his moms, and we used to talk to guys that were in jail, and when they would say, hey, you don't know how it's like, I don't know my dad, and blah, 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 my partner would say, so what? I didn't know my dad either. My father didn't raise me either. He said, but I listened to my mother. You should listen to your mother, So we kind of like didn't give guys the way out, the excuse that they're used to hearing. Like, we didn't sympathize with them just because they didn't have a dad, because you can do it if you listen to the people that are around you that care about you. And a lot of times these guys, they have good mothers. We meet the mothers on the visits, they talk to us, and then the inmates will tell you about their moms, like, yeah, my mom's is great, And a lot of them say, I'm really messing up because my mother didn't raise me like this. They understand that. So for those of you young men who want to try to take that route to say, oh, I don't have a dad, and this and that, I know it's difficult, but listen to your mom, or listen to your uncle, or whoever it is that's telling you the right thing. You know what's right from wrong, and just listen to what they're trying to tell you and go that route. I grew up in the projects in Brownsville, Brooklyn, so I understand the area that Mike Tyson came from. So when we used to see inmates, it'd be like telling me, oh, we grew up in the projects, it's rough, I would say, hey, I grew up in the projects too. I got a job, I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. I'm not in jail, I'm not breaking the law. So you can't say just because you grew up in the projects that you gotta have a life of crime, you gotta lead a life of crime. That's not true. And then I also used to work with an officer who had been homeless. He had been homeless, so we would talk to the guys at the jail, the inmates, and then, of course, somebody would say, man, you don't know how it is, man, homeless and stuff like that. My partner used to tell him, I was homeless too. I was homeless, living in the shelter, went through the whole program, went to the single occupancy, went to the training and everything, and now I'm here. If I could do it, you could do it too. And so we would take away all the excuses and tell them like, yo, you can do it. Believe in yourself. You can do it. So that's what I'm saying to the young people who may be watching this. You can do it. You can do it. Don't look for excuses. Don't look for ways out. You can do it. Give yourself the chance. Have some faith in yourself. And it's a shame that during my career, I've seen so many young men, guys, King's age. King is 19, and this is, I guess, his second arrest. And it's so sad because I don't think a 19-year-old can say they even tried. Did you try to make it out here the right way? Did you really give it your best shot? Or did you just try to take the easy way out and just blame others and just use excuses to go out and lead a life of crime? That is not acceptable. And for those young men who think that this is some sort of rite of passage, that you have to come through the jail system in order to be a man, it's not true. Don't go to jail. Don't come. Don't do it. Don't waste your time. Your freedom is the most important thing. People die for freedom. People are fighting wars for freedom. You have the freedom, and now you have the ability to go wherever you want in the world and in this society. Take it. Don't squander it away. Don't spend your time in a jail cell. I see too many young men doing this. Some of them have good parents, some of them don't. But don't let that be an excuse for you young men. You can do it. You can be a productive member of society. Don't go this route, and you'll be a better person for it. And I would just like to thank everybody for tuning in and checking me out once again. And until next time, peace and stay safe.